Hello, my name is Tyler Good. I am doing my presentation on analysis concepts and proper medical staffing in high school athletics. So just to give you a little bit of background before we really get going on this issue, there are approximately 54 million high school and middle school athletes in the U.S. 37% of public school or public high schools have full-time athletic trainers, so a full-time medical professional that is taking care of their needs whenever they get an injury. This is, these injuries can range anywhere from the simple ankle sprain to something serious, which requires an emergency room, and having a medical professional who is able to not only evaluate those injuries, but then take care of rehab and all the documentation along with that for those kids really just makes a huge difference in preventing injury and providing a peace of mind for parents and who are worried about their children. Now, to give you a little bit about that math, I said 37% of public high schools. That's 37% of the 54 million middle school and high school athletes that actually have medical coverage. This means that there are 34,020,000 that are left completely uncovered by any kind of medical coverage by having a full-time athletic trainer in there. Now, in Colorado alone, there are only 24% of public high schools that have a full-time athletic trainer providing those that medical care. So moving right into it, so just to explain a little bit, of comparative analysis simply compares financial reports from year to year. It is similar to a trend analysis, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but it doesn't really go into predicting what the future is going to do. It really just looks across in a horizontal plane saying, okay, in 2019, stats looked like our finance stats looked like this. 2019, they looked like this. It's also known as the horizontal analysis. So the trend analysis takes this standard comparative analysis and looks for the trend in the data. It's used to predict future trends, and differences are typically, determined through analyzing percentage differences. If you look at table 14-3 in Baker and Baker's book, you can really see a good idea of an example of what they give, what a trend analysis will start to look at, and more so what a comparative analysis is going to do, because there's no forecasting for the future. So what we can see here is the current liabilities are increasing by 50,000. So in order to calculate this, what we'll do is we'll take that difference of 50,000 right here, and we'll actually divide that by our first year current liability there, and that'll give us that percentage difference. So if we go to long-term debt, you'll see that difference is 50,000. The long-term debt in year one was 400,000. So that gives you a 12.5% increase to that 450,000 for year two. Now, how does this look in healthcare? Using trend analysis allows for more educated decision making at the management level for really any hospital setting, and this will allow them to look at things like medical waste, where you'll see that $257 in 2018 goes up to $301 that they're now spending on disposing of medical waste. And so then you're getting that 17% increase that they're looking at. Using trend analysis can really help to determine things like like I was talking about, the medical waste expense in the athletic training room. And that's really just a generalized estimate for a large-scale athletic training room, rather than what we would really see in a high school setting. And these budgets that are used is $10,000, which is extremely rare in the high school setting. A lot of times you're looking at $5,000 would be a pretty high budget for an athletic training room. in the high school setting. So forecasting approaches, just to take a quick look at the three different types. Forecasting is defined as calculating a future event by studying the current data. So going back to what our comparative analysis looked at, and now getting into more of that trend analysis, trying to use the forecasting to really determine how much money should be allocated in the future. So there's three types. The first level is more like that ground level, the people that are really working most directly, who can provide the most detail of exactly what's going on. Second level comes from the information gathering from electronic and statistical information. This does require skilled interpretation of the information, because it is a lot, and it's something that it's a lot of information that comes through, and knowing what to look for and what is the important information really takes a lot of training. Third level is going to be rough draft of the forecast, which has been developed by executive level employees. Pros and cons of each of these. So for the first level, you're obviously going to get the most personalized approach of the analysis of the issues, because these people are right there working in it every single day. However, it does not allow for a big picture analysis of the issues. Second level allows for a lot of information to be documented and detailed documented, but it does require skillful analysis of the information for proper interpretations. This means going into training and hiring someone that can actually deal with this information and really being able to pull out the important bits. The third level sees the big, full big picture of what is needed from each department. This might be your main responsibility centers in a hospital setting. However, they don't see the detail of the individual department analysis like that first level would. So each level really has their pros and their cons of what they do very well and what they don't. So in the athletic training setting in the high schools, first level, your athletic trainers are able to see the lack of medical coverage and personal burnout as they treat over 10 sports and a lot of times 200 athletes. The second level shows only that coverage is being provided, and that there is a potential need for more staff as hours and more injuries are recorded by the athletic trainers. Just really showing those statistics and saying, hey, this athletic trainer is seeing a lot of people. So it shows that there could potentially be a need, but it also shows that the work is being completed. So I can get rid of that. Third level sees only the statistics of the success of the athletic trainers. This is just going to see that there is completion of the work, that this medical coverage is being provided. However, it doesn't see the consistent struggle and the lack of coverage of high school athletes. Because a lot of times what will happen is you'll have a single athletic trainer that is in charge of covering multiple events in a single day. So these athletic trainers are looking at 14 to 16-hour work days while they're covering a basketball game, a track meet, a wrestling match, or any other sporting event that might occur in a single day, being the only medical professional there. So revenue assumptions. There's 5 types of the revenue assumption. There's the utilization assumption, which shows the decrease of patient time spent in a hospital care, and therefore showing a decrease in revenue. So this would be as technology and as research improves, patients aren't having to spend as much time in a hospital, and so they're getting discharged sooner, and therefore the hospital is not able to charge for as long of a time, so they're not making as much money. So in the big picture, they're seeing that decrease. Patient mix assumptions shows whether or not the patient is using Medicare or Medicaid. Contractual allowance is the things like the Medicare, the Medicaid, and the insurance groups, the private insurance groups that are all agreeing on what is an acceptable price to be charged for a particular service. Trend analysis assumption, as we talked before, really finds the trend in the revenue which is utilized in forecasting. And then payer change assumptions is just like federally regulatory requirements that make changes that require different methods of payment, dictating the amount the organizations are paid. So, going back to our initial issue at hand, athletic trainers in the sports medicine field in the high school setting, athletic trainer medical care is not charged to any insurance. So there's no real profit that's being turned from seeing a single patient like there would be in a physical therapy clinic or a chiropractic clinic or really any other kind of allied healthcare profession. So that means hiring another athletic trainer to provide medical care to an in-need high school program does not often bring any further monetary gain for the healthcare organization. So a hospital might not see the need of bringing in another athletic trainer to provide that because it's just going to cost them more money. Now, the trend analysis assumption can be used to determine if there was an increase in referred patients to the hospital or to a PT clinic, and whether adding another athletic trainer would increase this referral rate. That'd be really the only way that these PT clinics that hire out these athletic trainers to different high schools would really see the monetary gain of providing another athletic trainer to provide coverage and to provide proper coverage of these high school athletic programs. So sports medicine staffing capacity in high school athletics, trend analysis can really forecast expected numbers of injuries to be seen by an athletic trainer. So you can really look at the number of recorded injuries and say, we had 100 injuries in the fall, so we might be able to expect this many next fall with football or soccer or whatever in-season fall sport that might be had. Another thing you can do is you can utilize the analysis to determine the number of athletic trainers needed to properly care for student athletes. If you look at fields such as nursing in California, they actually require a certain number of nurses per patient number. So for an operation setting, they're not going to allow more than one patient per nurse. So that way provides the best care for that single patient. And it goes into detail in a little bit more detail in different fields. So having something like that for athletic trainers, saying that a single athletic trainer should not be really covering more than 100 athletes. And honestly, even 100 athletes is quite a few to be caring for all on your own. So this goes back to references. Thank you for listening, and I hope that now you kind of see the need for athletic trainers, not only in a high school setting and just more so in just having that influence and having more athletic trainers covering all these different high schools that don't currently have coverage, but also seeing the need for more athletic trainers to be placed at high schools that only have a single athletic trainer, so that way better medical coverage can be provided. Thanks so much, and hope you have a wonderful day. Hold on.